Right. What jumped out for you? Who do we go to first? Guto, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, you flagged it, the sort of repeated insistence that the Labour manifesto makes no requirement for tax rises. And if we're honest...
That was Pat McFadden.
That was Pat McFadden,
yeah.
and that will be what we'll hear later at the manifesto launch. As if the manifesto controls the next 4 or 5 years. I don't remember any politician in 2019 saying we will need to raise 400 billion in taxes to pay for a furlough scheme, to pay for ventilators, to pay for a vaccine, because you can't predict that.
So what are you saying? They might not be able to stick with it, but then no one ever does anyway?
Well, an element of that, an element of a humble sort of acknowledgement that the future is not reduced to manifesto, and therefore there may be things. And just as Beth Rigby brilliantly exposed last night, there are 2 or 3 specific taxes that have been left hanging, which, considering how rigidly Labour has ruled out some taxes, they have definitely flagged to me that fuel duty will go up, council tax will go up, and capital gains is highly likely.
Just before you come in case people missed it, should we have a quick look what he said?
There is nothing in the manifesto, nothing in the plans that we published today that will require further tax increases. Well, what he'll say is that nothing in the manifesto requires any further increases in tax. There's nothing in our plans that requires us to do so.
Ayesha.
Well, the wording is careful, is that there's nothing in our plans that requires to do this now. And look, Guto is right. You can't predict unforeseen circumstances. And also, sometimes big ideas come out of nowhere, like the Rwanda plan was absolutely not in the last Conservative manifesto. But I think what the Labour Party is
Was that a good thing?
Well, I don't think there's anything good about the Rwanda scheme, quite frankly.
But you can predict that it's going to be very, very tight indeed for public spending, especially for non-NHS public spending. You can predict that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the last 2 big fiscal events, the OBR has said that there's about 20 billion extra pounds of cuts coming down the track. So the Labour Party is going to have, if they win, is going to have a very difficult inheritance. I think what stood out for me, which was interesting, everybody is talking about growth. You know, Pat McFadden's talking a lot about growth. You pushed him on this Ed Balls in terms of where, you know, the growth is going to come from. They are saying, look, they're going to do a whole-scale reform of planning to get more houses built. They really want to focus on an industrial strategy and on skills. Now, I think that is all really important. However, I'm just being objective as a Labour person, the big caveat is all of this stuff is good. It takes time. Take some investment. If you want to do a really big regional skills strategy, which I think is really important, former head of the Treasury, Sir Nick Macpherson, I did an interview with him recently, he said regional skills is super important.
In fact, Starmer talked about that in the debate last night,
and an industrial strategy. But that takes time, money, and also with growth, as we all know, it takes a bit of luck as well. So I think the growth strategy is right, but you don't just turn up at Downing Street and pull a big lever.
What did you make of the David Cameron, the Foreign Secretary's interview?
Well, I thought this was fascinating, and I have to say, Kit, I thought you did an excellent job holding him to account.
She was cheering you.
I did actually think you pushed. I was really surprised at that. I think David Cameron's a really good communicator. I've seen him in the House of Lords, and he's a really skilled orator and communicator. I thought it was really weird that he sort of tried to double down on this D-Day
Particularly, it's been reported already with quotes from him that he was furious at the time.
Absolutely. And you could tell, I mean, everybody, any sentient being looks at that. You noticed it from that Conservative, chair last night in the debate, saying, you've kind of shamed the party by doing this. We know, you could tell from David Cameron's clenched jaw that he was not happy.
I think we could actually hear this sort in which he says the dangerous thing to say, the Times' Tim Shipman in the Sunday Times was wrong.
What you report is not true at all. I mean, the Prime Minister... Prime Ministers have to make lots of...
It was the Times that reported it,
I know.
not me.
No, it was... No, sorry. Well, the Times is wrong. That is not what I thought and not what I said. Prime Ministers have to make lots of difficult decisions about when to go to things and when to leave things and who to see and all the rest of it. And to be fair to Rishi, he went to the key event in Portsmouth with all of the D-Day veterans in the UK, and then he went to the key event above the British Normandy beaches.
So the key question you asked, which was brilliant, was, well, why did you stay then? That was the key question. Look, the reality is this was a stinker. There's no way to describe it as anything else. And the thing that I still don't understand from Rishi Sunak, what a privilege to be at this event. these veterans are about to slip away from us. This is like a golden thread in history. Not only should you be there, you know what? You should want to be there. You should want to be there till the very last moment.
Guto?
Yeah, it is one of those where the oldest trick in the book, and you used to do it and your boss used to do it, is just acknowledge and move on. And don't spend half the interview talking about something you really don't want to talk about. And David Cameron is usually rather brilliant at all of this. And I think it's a sign of, deep down, how not just angry, but how shocked he was.
Traumatised.
That it actually happened. He just can't quite believe that that happened on his watch. But he's right as well, that is not the key decision in the ballot.